The film I am going to introduce is called Mulan, produced by Walt Disney Pictures. It tells a story about a young maiden disguising herself as a male warrior in order to replace her aged father going to the battleground. The movie embodies timeless themes of family, feminism, braveness, and justice, which can be seen through the elements of Mise-en-Scene. The director Carol in-depthly researched the use of color in Chinese culture, setting, costume design, and lighting, which make the film more meaningful and enjoyable to watch. In this scene, Mulan put on makeup and was going to meet the matchmaker and pass the wifehood assessment. Mulan's family hopes that she can marry a good husband and bring honor to their family. According to the director's interview, Mulan's makeup was historically accurate, which reflects the Chinese culture. The white foundation was a symbol of beauty. The gold foundation on the forehead was called Buddha's makeup because gold was the color of the Buddha. It was very popular during the time. The reason was the Buddhist thoughts denied the traditional idea that men are superior than women. This belief was in line with women's pursuit of the concept of gender equality. The flower on the forehead is only seen in women with power and represents the status and right of ancient women. This set of makeup combinations highlighted and symbolized the right and power a woman can have and achieve. The spacing of Mulan was positioned in the center of the room facing the camera. It draws people's attention to her as the main character. The lighting in this scene is warm and high-key lighting with mainly the color of red and orange. Those elements represent the liveliness Mulan has in her heart, as well as the inner love and kindness she is qualified as her characteristics. The setting of the scene was in a beautiful and luxurious room. The Chinese antiques on the background, such as vases and lanterns, were expensive and precious. These elements of decor all showed how this event for Mulan is taken seriously, as well as Mulan is being valued by her family. In this scene, Mulan's father received the order from the emperor that he must join the army and fight for his country. The night before his father's departure, Mulan and her father were both very heavy-hearted. They sat down and talked about future and life. The only source of light came from the lantern. The one lantern between father and Mulan lit up each half of their face, showing no matter how dark the environment is, the love of family is still lighting and connecting them together. The color of the scene was mostly warm orange and black, displaying a soft and safe environment as well as the warmth and comfortness of their relationship. The spacing of Mulan and her father was not sitting on the opposite side of each other. They sat really close, and based on psychology, the way they are sitting shows no opposition or estrangement. It shows the closeness and love they have as a family. The scene takes place in kitchen and dining room, with fruits and daily supplies in the background. The dining room is often the warmest and most natural place for families to union and chat. In this scene, the Hans were gathering together in a small yard to plan the next evil movement they are going to have. The lighting in these scenes were dark. Low-key lighting created the sense of gothic and evil themes. The only source of main light came from the fire, and the fire in the middle lit up their face from bottom to up. This type of lighting is often seen in horror movies. It sharpens their facial features to look more threatening and created a villainous look. The color of the Hans' skins were mainly dark and tan. Also, they had scars on their faces. Those elements give people a feeling of being threatened and an evil impression. Everyone is wearing black dark armor. The color black can be symbolized as evil and dangerous. The spacing of the scene showed people were circling together, except only the head of the villain army was sitting alone at a higher single seat. It symbolized the power imbalance and disunity among the villains, as well as it showed the leader's dictatorship and his uncaring. The decor on the scene were the weapons hanging on the wall and the treasures in the background. These elements all suggested that the villains were robbers that kill and harm for their own profits. The owl flying around in the yard is called a mourning bird in China. It is often a symbol of death and evil according to Chinese culture. This scene showed the first confrontation between the two factions of the troop. The villains came down from the mountain to attack, and the emperor's troops were ready to defend and prepared to fight back. In the beginning of this scene, we see that villains are coming down from the mountains. It can be explained as the Khans are the uncivilized invaders coming from the outer space. The troops' formation was scattered and was very unorganized comparing to Mulan's side. The director applied combat skills of tactical disposition and attack by stratagem from chapter 3 and 4 of the Chinese book The Art of War, also known as Sun Tzu military methods. For example, on this scene, we see Mulan's troops attack from the side with smaller groups. This technique was called attack by stratagem from chapter 3 of the book. It advised troops not to send all of the army at once, but little by little. On the other hand, in this scene, the troops' formation was neat and plain because they referenced the tactical formation from chapter 4, advising that the formation of an army can be very beneficial in a battleground. The military dispositions and strategies used in Mulan's troop really highlighted the intelligence they have as the protagonist and showed the use of Sun Tzu military methods from their ancestors. The light source on the scene only comes from natural light. High-key lighting shines on Mulan, highlighting and sharpening her facial features to reflect her inner bravery. The color of the villain's armor, masks, and even the horses were all black. On the other hand, the emperor's troops were all wearing color of silver, gold, and red armor, symbolizing loyalty, strength, and mobility. Those elements showed a great contrast of the outer characteristics to tell the audience who are the villains and heroes. The decor on this scene that stood out to me the most were the high mountains. Mountains often symbolize the unmovable determination heroes have to fight bravely during the war. These elements added up to give the audience a sense of how prominent and brilliant heroes are often displayed and showed a great contrast comparing to the evil villains. This is a scene where Mulan strayed into a path where she met Xianyang, the villain. Xianyang stopped her and started attacking her by telling Mulan is a liar and a coward who dare not to reveal her true identity. These words made Mulan's inner determination collapse and caused Mulan to become weaker in power. The lighting in the scene is natural lighting and cold lighting. Cold lighting, which is often used in horror and war-filled films, often used to create lonely and somber scenes. Cold lighting greatly helped to portray the helpless emotion and sadness Mulan is encountering during this stage of time. The color tones of this scene were gray, chartreuse, and yellow. Those colors often represent lack of confidence, illness, and fear that well reflected Mulan's inner feeling after being attacked. In this scene, the background was full of strong and mysterious smoke. It created an obfuscated environment and symbolized the unknown danger Mulan might be encountering. Secondly, in this scene, Mulan is crawling on the yellow ice that is fragile and about to crack. The cracking ice is a symbol of her inner self-defense. She is at the edge of breaking and collapsing due to the wounding attacks she encountered. The spacing of Mulan and Xianyang was always shown on the opposite side of each other, as well as they maintained a long distance between them. This type of spacing often represents the hostility and vigilance they have toward each other. The distance between them symbolized a big gap between good and evil. In the final battle scene, Mulan went to rescue the emperor. While fighting, her sword melted into the flames. Right away, she received encouragement from the emperor and led her to her self-awakening. Comparing to the previous scene, Mulan experienced a big transformation. She showed the courage and strength she possessed and eventually won this battle. The lighting of the scene is high-key lighting. The light comes mainly from the sun and shines on Mulan to emphasize her certainty and power being given. Comparing to the previous scene, the lighting was much different. The color of the scene is warm, showing the confidence, brightness, and strength she had grown after experiencing the difficulties. On this day, Mulan and the villains were sitting on the wood hanging by a rope in the middle. The spacing of Mulan and the villains were on each tail of the wood. Despite the fact that Mulan is much lighter than the villain, the wood still kept balanced. This showed how Mulan has equal power and determination to fight just like men. The most outstanding decor will be the phoenix. In this scene showed the phoenix flying behind Mulan. The displacement created an effect that Mulan grew a pair of phoenix wings. In Chinese cultures, the phoenix symbolized rebirth and growth after fire. As Mulan had experienced, she had been through hardship, and now she has grown and equipped with bravery and confidence. The pair of wings also added heroic characteristics to Mulan, showing the power and beauty she had. Mulan is only wearing a thin layer of red shirt. As the director said, it was so clear that red was Mulan's color, she says. In any culture, red suggested passion, love, and strength. Red is the color of fire, but it also represents joy. The director chose the color red because it really shows the passion, power, and love Mulan has gained throughout the process, and symbolizes the courage she has to choose to reveal the truth of who she is. From these scenes, we saw the theme of feminism, justice, bravery, and growth through many elements of Mise-en-Scene. Those elements express to us that a true hero connects, cares, and loves their family and community. Heroes do not come only in the form of men with strong muscles. Instead, anyone, like Mulan, young beautiful ladies, can bravely stand out to be a hero. Mulan's makeup and the color of lights around her all contributed to her heroic qualities. Heroes as well were not born strong and powerful. They need to have a process of growth, just like the process Mulan experienced. The lighting changes with her while her inner feeling becomes stronger and gain the courage to be herself. Those processes of growth are necessary for her to rebirth like a phoenix. We also see that the color of Mulan's clothing and troops are always bright, while on the other hand, the villain's clothing and troops are dark. Those elements really construct society's view on how the outer appearance of heroes always are bright and wonderful, while the villains look evil and dark. Thank you for listening.